Is Netanyahu dead or is Netanyahu alive?
As you can see, he is totally alive.
Oh, that is the big question. Is the guy dead or is the guy alive? A lot of people are hoping he's dead. Not going to lie about that. But there have been very convincing videos that have come out recently that point to him being actually alive. But we're going to break that down because many people are saying, no, these still could be AI. They look like there's AI. There's maybe some stuff in them that don't really look totally real. So maybe the guy is actually dead and this is a giant psyop, which Israel would have every desire to do and would put a lot of effort into doing. And there is no doubt that the original videos they started rolling out, those original proof of life videos, were strange. They were obviously AI'd. They used skin smoothing, made him look younger. He was orange in some of them. There were a lot of inconsistencies. His hands were weird. They were clearly using AI. And the big question is why, if he's alive, were they using AI? Maybe he's really sick. Some people are saying maybe he's really sick and he's actually in the hospital with cancer and he's dying of cancer and he's undergoing treatment and he's pretty much bedridden. And so they're using AI, but then every so often they trot him out there, like a Weekend at Bernie's. There's a lot of theories here, but I think the biggest question is why were they using AI to begin with? Okay, we're going to get to some of the latest videos that have rolled out that make us think, okay, maybe he's alive, fine, maybe he's alive. But first, before we do that, I do want to point out a couple of things that also add to the layer of mysteriousness around this. And that is one, the official prime minister Instagram account for Israel put out this, what looks like a tribute video to somebody who's dead. Watch this.
Give up forever to touch you, 'cause I know that you feel me somehow. You're the closest to heaven that I'll ever be, and I don't wanna go home right now. And all I could taste is this.
Okay. Maybe they're trolling us and they're like, oh, you're the closest to heaven that I'll ever be. So, that kind of indicates the guy's dead. They're trolling us. Or maybe he's really dead and they really are putting out a tribute video. I don't know. The other weird thing is that he was supposed to be in Hungary for this CPAC Hungary conference. He was the headline speaker. He canceled and he sent his son instead.
I'm thrilled to be here in Budapest. It's one of my favorite places in the world. I love Hungary. I think Israelis are discovering Hungary in recent years and fell in love with Hungary, and we all feel so safe here, and it's such a beautiful country and safe country, and it's like almost like a second home for me.
Yeah, that's because people don't like you anywhere else in the world, so you got to go to places like Hungary, I guess. Soon enough, they'll catch on. So Yair says the reason why his dad couldn't be there, allegedly, was because of food poisoning. That was the excuse. Oh, he had food poisoning, so he couldn't be here. But I don't know. Then we suddenly, that same weekend, see videos and images of Bibi Netanyahu walking around outside touring sites that were demolished. Now, one big question before we get to those videos, because I'm going to show you the videos in question. The big question around those videos in question is it that, as they were rolling out those initial AI videos, did they just get smarter? Because people were commenting saying, well, if it were really Bibi, he'd be out there touring the sites, and then they make him touring the sites. Or if it was Bibi, he'd really be doing a press conference in front of people, so they have him in front of people. We've just never seen such an attempt to prove life other than just being alive and being out there. I mean, the simplest way to prove you're alive is to just do what you normally do and what you've always normally done. But instead, it's like they're listening to our feedback as they put the videos out, and they're like, oh, they're not buying it because he's not in a press conference. So we got to put him in front of a press conference. And then people say, well, we're not really buying that. And then they say, well, yeah, but all these journalists say that they saw him and we got all these different videos of him, which could all be AI. I mean, and to say, well, that would mean CNN was in on it and ABC News was in on it and Fox News was in on it. Well, yeah. Because in order to remain in Israel, you have to do what the government says. So if the military says this is a matter of military, of national security, and you have to go along with this, otherwise you have to, or you're going to be booted out of the country, those news organizations will go along with it. Not to mention they want to because they're a bunch of Zionists themselves. So the problem is we can't really trust what we see, right? AI has gotten so good that we have a difficult time trusting our own eyes at this point. There's also a legitimate, I would say, reason for Israel to want us to believe that Netanyahu is alive. If he was killed by an Iranian airstrike, they wouldn't want the Iranians to know that they maybe had precision intel. They wouldn't, and they also wouldn't want to scare everybody into thinking, wow, you're actually losing the war, because Netanyahu is not the only reason why there's Zionism in Israel. Zionism exists way beyond Netanyahu's life. But I mean, the big question is, why were they putting out those AI videos to begin with? They obviously were AI. And what was the point of that? What was the point of an AI video that they were originally rolling out unless there's something really wrong? And then they start putting out these proof of life videos. And what's the point of doing that unless, again, something is really wrong? So something's obviously not right. And I think we've all caught on to that. The question is, we don't really know what it is, but they're really trying hard to tell us, no, everything's all fine. Let me play for you a little bit of his recent video. This came out today. And, it looks legit, but notice something strange. Watch this.
ראשית מבקש לברך אתכם על העמידה האיתנה שלכם. אני מבין היטב שהשליחות שמוטלת עליכם היא כבדה, והיא כבדה יותר מזו שמוטלת על...
what was that about? We see he's in a room, and then let's see if we can get back to that, the very beginning here.
ראשית מבקש לברך אתכם על העמידה האיתנה שלכם.
What's this about? Why is he on a video screen? Where is he that he needs to be on a video screen with these other people supposedly in the room? I mean, why are they doing this to us? Why are they putting out these weird videos? Okay, that was from today. So that doesn't clear anything up. I mean, this obviously could be AI because they don't even have him in a room with other people. They have him talking virtually to others in a room, and it could have been anybody sitting there. So that's really weird. And the question is, where is he that he has to be doing this? I thought he was in Israel. Or he's probably hiding in a bunker somewhere far away. And what they do is they say, oh, it's the Iranians. They're hiding like little rats. It's Netanyahu's a little rat and he's also hiding. So, I mean, I guess you can't make fun of the Iranians for hiding if Bibi Netanyahu's hiding. So over the weekend, when his son Yair was at the CPAC in Hungary and Netanyahu allegedly had food poisoning, we end up getting this photo. Here he is in the Situation Room, surrounded by some generals. Okay. Interesting. We also end up getting this video from his office, and this was on Monday. This is what he says.
מוקדם יותר היום שוחחתי עם ידידנו הנשיא טראמפ. הנשיא טראמפ מאמין שיש סיכוי למנף את ההישגים הכבירים של צה"ל וצבא ארצות הברית כדי לממש את יעדי המלחמה בהסכם. הסכם שישמור על האינטרסים החיוניים שלנו.
So in that, by the way, he's saying that he's going to continue attacking Iran. He says, earlier today, I spoke with our friend President Trump. President Trump believes that there's an opportunity to leverage the great achievements of the IDF and the U.S. military to realize the goals of the war, an agreement that will safeguard our vital interests. In parallel, we will continue to attack both Iran and Lebanon. We are methodically dismantling the missile program and the nuclear program and continue to hit Hezbollah hard. Just a few days ago, we eliminated 2 more nuclear scientists, and the hand is still outstretched. We will safeguard our vital interests in any agreement. That's what they're saying. So, okay, that's what he's saying. I say there because I'm not sure if it's really him. Freudian slip. I don't really know who it is. I don't know. I'm still not convinced. I'm not going to lie. I'm not convinced. But let's go back to the foreign press conference that happened last Thursday, March 19th. And this was the foreign press conference that where we got really conflicting information on this, because what was originally reported by the Times of Israel is that this was a virtual press conference and that foreign and domestic press were not in the room. And then we saw the video of Netanyahu, which was just his straightforward video. And the one thing that was really weird is we saw the sleeve pop out. It was obviously an AI moment with the sleeve. And people were posting that. Then shortly after, people started pointing out that the video seemed not real. Then there was a rollout of these types of images where journalists were like, I was in the room and this is Bibi Netanyahu in the room. These are the photographs of him. And we also saw, and so there he is. And let me pull this up full screen for you so you can really see it. He looks kind of small to me in relation to that podium. I think he kind of looks little, but so that would be my criticism, thinking, but it could be an optical illusion. It could be that's just the way it is. That's how people look standing in front of a big podium. I don't know, but he does look kind of small to me. And then this was posted by CNN. They put this, and I don't believe it was live when they aired this. I believe they aired it after the fact, but I could be wrong on that. They might have been airing it live, in which case, maybe the guy's alive, but then again, maybe he's not alive, because CNN would definitely cover up if the Israeli government said you have to. And we don't really know exactly when they filmed this press conference. Was it live or was it pre-filmed and then aired later? I mean, these are all questions we don't know.
You assassinated Iran's supreme leader and dozens of other senior Iranian officials. The result of that so far has been the appointment of a new supreme leader considered to be even more hardline than his father. The Iranian regime is not showing any signs of collapse as of now. So I wonder, what do you say to those who say that killing those individuals is in fact empowering the hardliners in Iran? And are you confident that your strategy will still lead to regime change?
I'm not sure who's running Iran right now. Mujtaba, the replacement Ayatollah.
I mean, so obviously with that cut, this was not live aired. This was like an edited version after the fact. And that then just leads us to be suspicious, because there was an obvious edit there. And this is from CNN. This is directly from Jeremy Diamond's social. He posted this. So, kind of a question. Why was there that jump cut? Well, because it's edited. Okay, well, if it's edited, then how do we know? Because this was the criticism people had when we first saw the press conference. We were like, well, we haven't seen the journalist in the room with him, so it can't be real. He says, see, you've seen me with your own eyes now. Now you know I'm alive. And then people were like, yeah, but they're not really, because they're not in the room. We didn't see, all we saw were side by side, split screen, journalist on one side, Netanyahu on the other. And that's what we were watching when we saw it. And then suddenly, after everybody started pointing that out, we started seeing this rollout of images that I've got to be honest with you, this image in particular looks AI to me. And the reason is the curtain. If you watch the original video of the press conference on YouTube that is put out by the Prime Minister of Israel's office, their official channel, when he walks into the room, the curtain is very short, like it's not much curtain, and then there's the podium. It's like maybe 3 feet of curtain, and then and that would be a maybe. I mean, it looked like maybe about 3 feet of curtain, and then the podium. And in this image, it looks like way more than 3 feet of curtain before you get to the podium. Again, could be an optical illusion. This journalist, Zach Anders from Newsmax, says, well, how dare you question me? I'm a journalist. I've been, on the front lines, risked my life. I do all these things, and you guys still think I'm lying to you and that this isn't a real photograph. And, I'll give it to him. Yeah, point taken. I hear you. But at the same time, we can't trust anybody these days, and we certainly can't trust anybody that's coming from a Zionist point of view. Then people were pointing out some inconsistencies in the room from the various different images and videos that were put out, one of them being this like double tripod thing. If you look at this is like a camera guy, and he's got a second tripod, and he's holding what looks like an empty tripod behind the camera that's also on a tripod. And maybe the camera's so heavy that you have to have 2 tripods. I don't know. I haven't seen that, but I'm not a professional. I mean, obviously I use a camera every day. Obviously I set up equipment. I do know what I'm doing. I have a fair amount of experience with video cameras and filming, and I've never seen a dual tripod, but I'm not a total, I'm not working in live television with real big heavy cameras, so I don't know. And this was also put out, and people were kind of circling some things that they thought were inconsistencies from these larger photographs. Like the woman there looks pretty big in comparison to what Netanyahu looks like at the podium. Then, he looks, if you look at Netanyahu at the podium, he looks really tiny compared to like Jeremy Diamond, who's circled. So people are saying, well, this doesn't really, and then there's the guy with the double tripod in the video, in that image there. So, there's like people saying, I don't know, this doesn't really look. Here's another one. So Jeremy Diamond is standing. I don't know how tall Netanyahu is, but he looks really small, right? In this image, he looks small. And then people were saying, well, if Jeremy Diamond was standing, then why during the press conference was Netanyahu looking down, from that, the straight on camera angle that they put out on the Prime Minister of Israel YouTube channel? Why is he looking down when Jeremy Diamond was standing up? But when I looked back at the video, it looks like he's looking kind of straight ahead while Jeremy's asking the question. And then maybe Jeremy sits down and he's looking down. So, I mean, my brain goes both ways on this. I can look at these and say, well, no, I mean, it looks real. And these are the reasons why there's these various different discrepancies. But then my brain also says, well, no, why are there all these different discrepancies? And maybe they're not real. And maybe this is AI. Maybe this is like a giant psyop, which is totally believable considering how much we've been lied to. So people that sit there and say, well, you're an idiot for thinking he's not alive. Well, I think you're an idiot for thinking he is alive just because they told you so or they put out a few images. I mean, I think that at this point, shouldn't you be skeptical of everything? I mean, at this point, with how much we've been lied to, I feel like the only natural, reasonable reaction is pure and total skepticism. Okay, let's see what else. Now, this is, I think, quite convincing. This is from this Sunday, March 22nd, and allegedly Netanyahu went out to look at a strike site, and there are multiple camera angles from where he was. Let's go ahead and watch these.
And trying to blackmail the entire world. What more proof do you need that this regime that threatens the entire world has to be stopped? Israel and the United States are working together for the entire world.
Okay, so this is camera
and it's
angle
time to
one.
See the leaders.
This is angle one of this interview. Here's angle two of this same video with a different camera.
If you want proof that Iran endangers the entire world, the last 48 hours have given it. In the last 48 hours, Iran targeted a civilian area. They're doing that as a mass murder weapon.
Okay,
Luckily, no one was killed, but that's due to luck.
Here's a third angle.
That Iran endangers the entire world the last 48 hours. The last 48 hours, Iran targeted a civilian area. They're doing that as a mass murder weapon. Luckily, no one was killed.
And here's the fourth angle. So, I don't know. I see this and then I think, well, the guy's alive, I guess. Unless they're using a body double, which, is possible. A guy in a mask. Again, possible. Again, be skeptical. Because we've seen not only AI, but we've also seen those real life CIA kind of Mission Impossible looking masks. And they could absolutely stick a body double in a mask and say, okay, it's Netanyahu. But then it's like, well, then how do you fake the voice? Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could do multiple camera angles in order to, if you're in Mossad and your only job is to sit there and think about how you're going to fool the public into believing Netanyahu's alive, you would come up with these sort of antics. And then you would pull them off. You would say, okay, what we need to do is get a body double out there and a mask. We got the mask. We got the body double. We got to put them out there. We're going to get 4 different camera angles, and so we have different angles so that they can't say whatever it is. And then what we're going to do is AI all 4 of them at the same time with the exact same script and make sure that they're synced and use the AI and really prompt it to do. It's possible. It's possible. So that's why many of us sit there and say, I don't know. And also, of course, there's people are just hoping the guy's dead. And so everybody's looking for anything, just to believe that the guy's gone. And also, with these videos, I have to say that people have pointed out some discrepancies on the videos. Here's one. They've slowed this down, but, there's some like weird motion in the back behind the guy and the beard. And then there's also this weird thing that I was able to see this one for myself in the video in real time. And it's like her hair flips. Let me see if you could kind of watch the circle to the right. And it's like hair flipping in a weird direction. Like the hair flips back, but she doesn't actually, like the hair's flipping in a weird way. And so people say, no, that looks like AI. And then also this one is another discrepancy that people found in the video. And there's this like jumping cop, like jumping in the background. Like look at the very back and you'll see this kind of jumping person. And it's like, what's up with this kind of weird, unnatural motion? So I don't know. I don't know what to believe. I don't know. When I see these videos, I think, okay, I guess he's alive. It is what it is. I guess he's alive. There's enough camera angles. There's enough videos. But then, but then it's okay. But then why the AI videos that were obviously AI in the beginning? What was the point of that? Why do that? Why? And then there are all these various different discrepancies that make me think, okay, then I can't just right away 100% say the guy's alive. I don't know if he is, because how do we know? I mean, there's too many weird things about this. Things are just not adding up. Things are strange. I don't know. And so I don't want to just commit to the guy's alive. I also don't want to commit to the guy's dead. I really need to see him behaving the way he behaved previously with every other war. He needs to just come to Washington, D.C. Why hasn't he already? By this point in any other war, he'd had already been here like 3 times, or at least U.S. leaders would be there with him, meeting with him. Now, I understand maybe U.S. leaders don't want to fly out there because they're afraid. Well, I mean, how afraid can they be? We've obliterated Iran's military. That's what we've been told over and over, right? So, I mean, go make your visit, Lindsey Graham. Go ahead. Go meet with Prime Minister Netanyahu and hang around. Like, go do that. But they're not. And so there's a lot of questions there. They put Mike Huckabee there, and I don't know the rules. Mike Huckabee, he's an ambassador, so he's not an elected official. And there might be some like legality issues there, that if somebody like Lindsey Graham, who's an elected senator, if he goes and fakes out the American people like this, what the implications might be, there might be some legal implications there. Same thing with Donald Trump, or, but Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff and maybe Huckabee, maybe they could get away with it because they're not elected officials. I don't know. So they get away with like these AI fakery things. I don't know. But all I know is I'm not totally convinced. I'm not convinced either way, and it's unsettling. I know for sure Donald Trump's alive. We see him every day out and about, doing various things. He's normal. He's acting normal, but Bibi's not acting normal. And I think that leads everybody into a place of suspicion. And I don't think it makes anybody stupid or dumb or brainwashed or have, Israel derangement syndrome or whatever it is people are trying to accuse us of for asking questions when they have given us every single reason to doubt practically everything they say. Thanks for watching this clip from the full Kim Iversen Show, which you can catch Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, for free at KimIversonShow.com. See you there.